I'm Charles with Rocky Mountain ATV MC, and today we've got our Polaris RZR Pro XP in the shop. We're going to show you how to install a Tusk UTV Stage 2 upgrade kit on it. This is going to be the same process for the Turbo R4s as well. And what the Stage 2 kit includes is your removable full windshield. You've got the pivot folding mirrors with A-pillar mounts, the Force aluminum roof, and the cargo barricade. Now, all of this stuff is straightforward to install, so let's go ahead and get started. For the cargo barricade, we need to install the edge trim on it. So with this, you're just going to center it up, and also if it fits loose at any point, you can pinch it together for a tighter fit. So I'm just going to go ahead and press that on. To start out, we're going to install the cargo barricade. So what we need to do is remove these 4 bolts from the back of the cargo box. You're going to need a T40 Torx bit to do that. Now there's 2 longer bolts that came in your kit. We're going to use those. You're going to install a washer onto them. And then we've got a mounting bracket. Make sure this tab with the 2 holes will be facing up. Then we've got one of the spacers. And we're going into one of these lower mounting holes. I'm just going to leave that loose enough that we can make some adjustments. And then we'll do the same thing on this other side. Now I'm going to set the cargo barricade in place, and I'm going to start with the original bolts we removed in the top corners. We're going to reinstall those through the barricade. After that, we're going to install the 4 shorter bolts through the barricade, through that bracket, and then you've got that nylock nut on the back side. Then from here, you can make your final adjustments and tighten all of the hardware down. The next step is to install your mirror mounts. So what we need to do is pull up on this rubber boot first. And some machines, you're going to have a speaker wire coming down. If you have that on your machine, you're going to need to disconnect that. And then we're going to remove both A-pillar bolts. So we've got our 15mm socket. We are not reusing this bolt, but we are reusing this nylock nut on the back side. So you can see the cage isn't perfectly aligned, and that bolt's kind of binding up. So what I'm going to do is take an alignment punch. We're going to move the cage where we need it so we can get that out. So we've got our new bolt that came in the kit. We're going through the mirror mount. The mount itself is going to be facing up towards the top of the machine. And we're going to line that up with our cage. But again, we're going to have to use that alignment punch. I might even have to come in from the other side. And then we're going to thread that into the nylock nut we previously removed. And we'll do the same thing on the bottom. Then we'll use our 8mm Allen socket to tighten those bolts down. Next, we're going to use our supplied drill bit to drill a hole in the rubber boot so it goes over this mount. So we're on the driver's side. We've got the driver's side template. And then you're going to want to take your time to make sure this is lined up correctly. You just get one shot at this, so you want to make sure the hole is in the right spot. Now that we have the template in place, we need to drill this hole out. Now, if you want, there's a little indentation in the center of that hole marking, and you can flip that out, use a Sharpie, and mark that. But I'm just going to take the drill bit and go straight through. And you just want to make sure you're careful and that you don't hit your roll cage or damage the wiring if you have wires going to your speaker. So now you can remove the template, and then we're just going to slide this down over the mount. And if it doesn't go very easy, you can use some soapy water on this to help everything slide into place. After that, we're going to install both of our O-rings. These just help dampen vibration for the mirror. And once you have both of those in their grooves, you want to make sure they have just a little bit of grease on them. And then you can thread your jam nut on. Now for the mirror, you're going to use a 13mm wrench. Get this bolt off. There's a serrated washer underneath. You need to take that off as well. And then we're going to thread this onto the mirror mount. Then I'm going to back that off. I'm going to go all the way down to the jam nut, back it off, straighten it up, get the mirror where I want it. You can use a wrench on this jam nut, but the best thing for this, since it's powder coated, is going to be a crescent wrench, believe it or not. So once you have the mirror where you want it and tightened down, we're going to do those same steps on the other side. Now to assemble the roof, we've got our front half right here. The bend is going down in the front. And then for the back half, we've got the spoiler going up. And then this front half, we're just gonna lay it over the back half. We'll line up those holes, and we've got some blocks of wood holding this off the table just a little bit. And that way we can use these M6 by 16mm button head bolts. We're gonna go through the top, and then we've got the flange nuts on the bottom side. And all this hardware is going to be left loose until it's installed on the machine. Next, we need to do some prep for the windshield and the roof, so we're going to apply some foam tape on top of the roll cage. To better show the process, we're looking at the image in the instructions. We're going to cut two pieces that are 34¼ inches long, and we're going to apply that to the back two bars. The front bar we're going to leave empty because we are using the windshield, and we'll cover that in a later step. Now for the sides, or what we're calling the vertical bars, you're going to start in the front with trim A, and those are going to be two 29-inch pieces. Then you'll go to trim C with the 4¼ inch pieces, followed by trim A again, but they're only going to be 23 inches long for the back. So once you have all of your foam tape installed, this is what it should look like. Now for the full windshield, we need to prep the upper filler panel. So these bends on that filler panel, they're going to go in towards the cab. So on the outside across the top, we're going to apply this foam tape that came with it. Then we've got a little bit of extra tape, so I'm going to cut that off. Now for the windshield, I have some rubber gloves on. That's going to keep my fingerprints off of this. And then what we need to do, we're not going to completely remove the protective film. We're just going to pull it up a few inches on each side. And these bends, these are going to go in towards the cab, just so you know. Then we've got the bulb sill. So the sill itself, again, is going to go towards the cab. So we've got our windshield in the right position. We're going to center this up on it. And this should have a tight fit when you press this sill on, but if it's loose at any point, you can simply pinch this together and it's going to fit on there a little more snug. Over at the machine, we need to install some tape to the front roll cage bar. So I'm going to wipe that down. You can use some rubbing alcohol to clean this off as well. So right here I have the 30-inch piece of 1/4 inch thick foam tape. I'm going to lay that in place. Now just be aware, there was one other quarter-inch piece of foam tape in your kit. That should have been 39 inches long. That went on the filler panel. Now I do want to point out as well that the roof instructions will tell you to use a 3/8 inch thick piece of foam tape in the front, but if you're running this windshield like we are in this kit, you're going to want to run this 1/4 inch piece that came with your filler panel. Next, we need to attach the filler panel to the holes in the gussets in the roll cage. So to do that, we're going to use our M8 by 20 millimeter bolt. We've got a washer, and we'll use a nylock nut on the back side. So I'm going to set the filler panel in place and attach the hardware on both sides. And with the filler panel still loose, you want to adjust it side to side, get it centered up, and then tighten the hardware down. We're just using a 5 millimeter Allen and 13 millimeter combo wrench to do that. Next, I'm going to set the windshield in place. Now we can take our knob, we're going to install the washer and our rubber grommet. And then we're going to screw this into the top center mounting location, and we're going to adjust the windshield to where it's centered. And then we're going to snug this down. Now we need to go down right to where the filler panel ends, and we're going to mark that on the outside of the windshield on that protective film. Then we're going to do the same thing on the other side, and then we're going to take this back off and bring it over to the bench. We've laid the windshield out with the corner bends facing up. Now we can remove the protective film from the inside. Now we've got the 2 1/4 inch foam strips. So we're going to take these and we're going to start one corner. You can faintly see that mark you made with the Sharpie through the windshield. So we're going to start just below that. We're going to take this all the way down to the end, and you just want to trim off any extra material. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. Then we can take the 1/8 inch thick foam tape, and we're going to go from one end of that 1/4 inch foam all the way across the top to the other side. There you have it. So we're going to flip this over and remove the protective backing from the front. And then we'll go install this onto the machine. So I'm going to set the windshield in place and center that up. We'll start with the knob in the middle. And then we've got the Velcro clamps on the side. You're just going to go around the roll cage through the slot in the windshield. And then feed that strap behind the bar on the clamp. We're going to keep it pretty loose and feed this back through the slot. And then we're going to pull it tight, but we're going to make our final adjustments once all of the clamps are in place. Make your final adjustments and then tighten the straps and the center knob. And just be careful that you don't over tighten that knob. Next, we have 6 aluminum spacers. So we've got 2 in the very back gussets on our roll cage, 2 on the back middle gussets, and 2 on the front gussets. And I'm just using a little bit of grease to help hold these in place. Next, you'll want to have a friend help you set the roof into place. And we're going to install the M8 by 25 millimeter bolts with a washer on them through the 6 mounting holes in the roof. And you're going through those 6 aluminum spacers through the gusset, and then you're going to install a nylock nut on the back side. Now we'll adjust the roof side to side and front to back for the optimal fitment, and then we're going to tighten those 6 bolts down. After that, we're gonna tighten down the hardware all the way across the middle section. And that's it for the Tusk UTV Stage 2 Upgrade Kit for the Polaris RZR Pro XP4 and the Turbo R4. Now, if you have any questions about the install process, leave those down in the comments below. And if you need to snag one of these kits up, you can find them on our website. So go check that out and subscribe to our channel for more helpful content. I'm Charles with Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Thanks for watching.